Hi, and welcome back to YouTube. How are you? This is the 4th of July in the United States. If you're in the USA, I hope you're having a safe and good 4th of July come this evening. We already have firecrackers going off outside, so most of the dogs are used to it, and a new one that's here is really not. Today is not a video music reaction. Every now and then, like it says on Forever Woman, and a little bit more, or something different, or something more. You know, my music is passion, of course, and animals are my passion. I have found at the shelter that I work and volunteer, rather, honestly, and in other areas of my life, rescuing. We mainly get, it's rare we'll get a poodle or a German Shepherd or something like that. But we do get, there's a lot of what they call pit bulls. Now, I'd like to correct this woman on a lot of things. She does not have her facts straight on this. This is one thing, with my computer for a second. This is one thing that I do have my facts straight on. I've been doing it my whole life, and this is a passion as well. Let's start the video, see what you think about what she says. To anybody out there who loves the pit bull dog, let's go.
So another 80-year-old has been mauled to death by a pit bull. And of course, every time somebody is killed by a pit bull, everyone starts debating online and screaming at each other about whether or not pit bulls are really just nice puppies, and it's really up to the owner to train them to be killers, or whether they are stone cold killers all by themselves. And I've not weighed in on this debate because it just seems so evident and obvious and borderline stupid that we keep having this discussion over and over again. But today, I'm going to weigh in. So everybody, buckle up. Get ready to be super angry in the comments. First and foremost, let's just start with some arbitrary facts. In terms of dog breeds,
please do weigh in, lady. My computer.
You are most likely to be bitten by a Jack Russell Terrier. Did you know that?
No, no.
Also on the list of breeds that are most likely to bite you are Chihuahuas. I definitely knew that because I can't stand Chihuahuas. I'm sorry if you're a Chihuahua owner. Obviously, they are not very nice dogs. They yap all the time and they bite a lot, but nobody cares about Jack Russell Terriers or Chihuahuas biting because at the end of the day, you can punt them. You could punt them for a couple of points if you needed to, right? Not the same circumstance when it comes to pit bulls. So let's go over some statistics. Again, these are the facts. Don't be mad at me for being the messenger. This is dated for the 2020 year. Pit bulls are indeed, of course, the most fatal dogs. 65% of all deaths by dogs are committed by pit bulls. 65%. That is 284 deaths per year. In second place, and this is a long away second place.
And I'd like to say why the number's high, but it's not that high. The number's high because a lot of people want to own pit bull. Now, when we talk about pit bulls, a pit bull is not a breed of dog. American Staffordshire Terrier is. English Bull Terriers are. Bulldog is. A pit bull is a cross between a bulldog and numerous other dogs. Mainly like terrier breeds that they put in there. What terriers? We don't know. Pull a DNA if you have one. And I bet you have a dog that has a lot of terriers in it. Or my girlfriend has one that is a beautiful, big-headed, everybody says, oh my God, the pit bull. And she pulled a DNA and has Whippet, Lab, and something else in it. So, sorry, I'm out of camera range here. The pit bull is not a breed itself. So it is a mixed breed. And that's what you should call them. And that's what our shelter does. And not to get them homes because you can look and clearly see. But they are a mix. They are not a breed in themselves.
Are Rottweilers. They account for 10% of all deaths and 45 deaths per year. And as another fact,
No.
in 2021, of the 51 Americans that were killed by dogs, 37 of them were killed by one or more pit bulls. Okay, now let's get into the history of pit bulls as a breed. In case you don't know this, the ancestors of pit bulls can be traced back over 2,000 years to the United Kingdom. Originally, the pit bull was bred from the Old English Bulldog, which has a look that is not too entirely dissimilar from the American Bulldog that we see today. If you didn't already know, pit bulls are the result of crossbreeding bulldogs with various terrier breeds.
Yes.
The dogs were used for bull baiting. It was a sport in which a couple of bulldogs would annoy and attack a bull until the animal gave up and collapsed.
No. What happened originally was the dogs were used. Oh, my fan. Okay, pit, meaning to put your dog down in a pit. And then they started taking rats. Rats. Can you believe that? A lot of people don't know that. Rats. And having them, one or maybe two, I don't know how many because I've never done it, but history has said and replayed itself over and over, they were killing rats and they were making the pits deep because so the rats couldn't just jump out, because rats can jump, so they couldn't jump out quickly, climb out. So that is the word pit. That's how we got pit, and how we got bull is from the bulldog. So pit means they took the dogs, they put them in the pit, and they started them off killing rats. That was the beginning, but it wasn't good enough for people. Not enough money in that.
But that's not it. They were also bred to bite and hold bears and other large animals around the face and the head. Okay, so that is obviously very relevant. An animal that is capable of biting and attacking a bear. This sport, along with other baiting sports.
Not bears, hogs. These dogs were sent out into the woods, many of them. I had what was called a razor's edge, so-called pit bull. Nothing more than razor's edge meant she was more husky, she had a lot of muscle tone. She was extremely strong, and that was the razor's edge name for the breed. Okay, it's still a mutt. It's still a pit bull, which is a mixed breed dog, a mutt. She was one who was trained to go out and hunt wild boar, which can be extremely mean. I also developed another dog. I also inherited another dog, a white mutt that they called a pit bull, and he had a hairline fracture. His name was Gandhi, or Gandhi as I called him, and I kept him until his death. He had a hairline fracture in his leg, and he was no longer able to catch wild boar with a few of the other dogs sent out, so that because they grab him by the face, and you don't eat the head of the boar, you eat the body. So it was a sport. But bear, they were not, and they should have not. Now, maybe some people did try for bear, but we have bear dogs out there.
It was outlawed back in 1835. Then a new sport came of interest, and this was called ratting. Dogs were pitted against rats in competition as to whose dog could kill the most rats, and that is where the name pit bull derives from. The fact that rats were put into the pit in a bid to stop them from escaping. With time, that sport then turned into just dog fighting, because it was easier to hide from the authorities. And obviously dog fighting, even though it is illegal,
it wasn't easier to hide from the authorities. When dogs fight, there's a lot of noise. Dogs make a lot of growling, snarling, crying, whatever. It's a lot of noise. You really have to go underground to dog fight. When you put a dog in a pit and they're going after rats, they're not yelling. Just the rats would be yelling, which is a very lower sound. Two dogs fighting, your whole neighborhood's going to come out and look. So no, she's wrong. She's wrong with what she's saying. It's not more subtle at all for two dogs to fight.
Does still go on today, even in the United States of America. So yes,
there was just more money. there was more money in betting on who had the better dog.
It is correct to say that these dogs were bred to fight. They were bred to attack, and they were bred to kill over many, many years. And the question of whether or not breeding works, of course it does. The question of whether or not Darwinism is real, of course it is. You can breed for height, you can breed for intelligence, you can breed for stupid if you really want to, right?
And you can breed out aggression. You can breed out aggression. If you buy a little, because I know nobody gives away pit bulls really. Breeders sell them, and they sell them for a good price still, and it's nothing but a mutt. If you can get one for $25, bag of dog food to feed the mother, I don't know, and you breed it to a Labrador, a very happy-go-lucky lab, and then from there on you breed it to, and I'm not saying do it, I'm not a breeder, and then you breed it to, say, a very happy, lazy kind of, but still adorable Basset Hound. You can breed out the aggression of the mutt, which is a pit bull dog. You can breed anything to anything, and you can get better temperament. You just have to know what the heck you're doing. And she doesn't know what she's talking about. Oh, I don't know if this is news or just a podcast.
Obviously, this can take place. You can breed for athleticism. We see examples of this all the time, but it's important to note that just because you are bred in one way or the other does not mean that you are locked into that permanent state, right? So right now, the most mathematically capable people in the world are Koreans. It doesn't mean that Koreans are forever going to be the most mathematically capable people in the world. We could start breeding Americans to be better at math. We could start doing what they do over in Korea, or we could not. And we can remain probably the dumbest mathematical country in the world.
Wow.
So first and foremost, regarding the big question of whether or not we should ban pit bulls, it's important to note because there's a lot of false arguments that are taking place. When people are talking about banning pit bulls, they're not talking about the authorities knocking on your door and taking your pit bull. Nobody's going to come to your pit bulls. You're listening to this and you go, I have a pit bull. No one's trying to come take your pit bull. Your pit bull is safe. What they're talking about is stopping breeding, right? They no longer want pit bulls to be bred. They kind of just want them to just stop existing long term, but no one's going to come take them. And
that doesn't work. What she's saying is when they want to ban or demolish this mutt, and they're a terrier cross with a bulldog. Numerous terriers mixed in with a bulldog. Some lab thrown in there, some whippet thrown in there, whatever. They're a big mutt. When she says no one's going to come and take your dogs, that's exactly what they want to do in certain countries. They want your dog on a muzzle. That wasn't good enough. They can bite through a muzzle. They can get out of a muzzle. A lot of people don't know how to muzzle train. This is all on the owners. It's not on the dog. We have so many dogs that were bred out there for war. For war. We have dogs that were bred out there for law enforcement, but yet we keep them in our homes with our kids. We have so many dogs that were bred out there to actually guard. And a pit bull dog was once upon a time a farm dog around farm animals, and a guardian of the farm. So she's talking about no one's going to come and take your dogs. Well, certain people would like to if enough people keep getting killed, because these are irresponsible people who don't know how to go to class with their dogs and go again and learn until you know when your dog is stiff, when your dog is kind of whale-eyeing you or side-eyeing you, when your dog is growling. Don't punish the dog for the growl. That growl says, back off. I don't like you, or I don't like what you're doing. Okay? So don't discipline the growl, because after the growl, when you discipline it, your dog learns not to growl. And then it will just flat out bite you or whoever. So people are not educated in the breed. These are the most often sought after breed to protect drug houses. So they're falling in the wrong hands. But she's going to use friends for examples and watch where the problems come in.
One thing that people who are very pro pit bull, and this is I would say, a pretty wild bunch, they are very passionate about their claims that pit bulls are kind animals. They always say it's just like the gun debate, right? It's just like it's up to the owner, and the owner makes the pit bull a maniac. Pit bull is not itself a maniac.
True.
It's all about the owner, just like the guns.
True.
And I hate when I hear people say this, when people say it's the owner, not the pit bull, because I feel that those people fail at forming basic analogies, because obviously a gun cannot aim and fire and kill someone by itself.
This is a joke because you cannot compare an animal to something that is not alive and killing.
A pit bull can in fact aim and attack and kill someone all by itself, whether its owner is there or its owner is not. So please just stop making that ridiculous argument, because it's stupid, okay? No matter how much I train a gun to kill, it cannot fire without me, okay? So where do I stand on all of this? Well, I'll tell you personally, I do not like being around pit bulls. My entire life, I have never felt comfortable around pit bulls, ever. Ever in the history, I have friends that have pit bulls. If they kill me, no. But pit bulls are an aggressive dog, right? And
Okay, the way she's talking and going on, she's talking like she has a great fear, and she was taught to have a great fear of pit bull, a mutt, mixed breed dogs. That's what a pit bull is. It's coming from an area where it seems like this woman was actually taught to be afraid of them. And just like a child who's sitting in the backyard and doesn't know any better, this could have been her, and the parents said, oh, no, get away from that dog. That dog is a pit bull. That dog will kill you. Get away. Now you know it, and you carry that with you for life. Where a child in the yard playing will pick up, for example, a coral snake, which are not, they're highly venomous, and they're in the cobra family, but they're very placid. They're a snake that you can usually just handle and put back down without getting bitten. Really, unless you dangle it and play with it and really mess with it, you're going to get bit and you're going to end up in the hospital, and you may die or not. But we as children are not afraid of snakes naturally. We learned this from somebody. Snakes are bad. They're slimy, they're slithery, they're just nasty, and if you get bit by one, you can die. But if we were never told that, we would sit in our yard as a small child, and we would pick one up and just check it out. So we have not learned what's right and what's wrong, what's dangerous and what's not. Pit bulls, they are not inherently dangerous killers. And she's coming up on her, she is going to down herself in a moment, and she's coming to that point. She knows nothing about a mixed breed dog. Come on.
Get that my friends who have pit bulls, they love their pit bulls, and they're sweet babies.
They're not
But
babies.
It's your
They're
sweet
not
baby, okay?
babies.
If the pit bull feels threatened by me, I'm very aware that a pit bull will kill me, and I cannot, for that reason, comprehend the people that think it's acceptable to have pit bulls around young children. How far are you willing to go to be contrarian? I don't understand why.
They're not. The way she's talking is just so bizarre. Dogs are not babies. And she just said it. I know they're your babies. They're not babies. And we should never call a dog our baby. They're dogs. They're not humans. They don't see us as a dog. They see us for what we are. We are not a dog.
You would say, to prove a point, right, that pit bulls are really gentle and wonderful, I'm going to have them around my small children. Now, I'll give you an example of this. When I walk my son around the block, I am so aware. My biggest fear as a mother, I'm not even kidding, is when I walk my son, is that a dog is going to get loose and is going to run up and is going to attack him while I'm pushing him. I think about this when I walk. I process. I know in my walk that I do every day, what kind of dog lives on every piece of property? I'm like, and they're all different. They're all different. Golden doodle, they're kind of sweet and a little dorky. I'm like,
No,
if this guy
not
gets
all
loose,
of them.
I'm probably okay, right? You see the little yapper ones. I'm like, if this guy gets loose, I'm gonna kick him right in the jaw. And he's gonna go flying.
Not
right?
all
I
of
think
them.
about what I am going to do if these dogs get loose. And there's just one pit bull on my walk. He barks like a psychopath. Wait, it's an invisible fence. I don't even like invisible fences, okay? I like the real ones. If you're gonna get a fence, get a real one that I can actually see. And he's just barking and barking, and he's very aggressive when he barks. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, if this invisible fence was not here, I would kill you, Candace. And I'm thinking, okay.
Dogs don't think to reason. They don't know how. They react on body motion. If you're walking your child, okay, for example, to any dog, now a golden doodle or a labradoodle, less likely to go after somebody. But they've been known to bite. They have been known to bite. And we've had them around and they bite. Any dog bites. Every single dog can bite and has bitten. Everyone. This don't get reported. But she says she walks her child. I don't know how old her child is, but to a dog, a guy with a cane walking by or a guy with a limp, anything that looks awkward to a dog, the dog's going to bark. Most dogs will, because they're used to you in your home and how you behave. And so if they see something that's out of the ordinary, and this is not imaginary for them or a feeling for them, this is just a normal reaction for them. It's awkward. They bark to try to chase that away. And then when you get on down the road, which she doesn't mention, that barking stops. Now, invisible fences, dogs learn. If this dog really wanted her, if this dog really wanted her child, these dogs, any dog, I don't like invisible fences either, because any dog learns how to just eventually plow right on through it. It just takes a second to get a shock on you, but you're out. The shock is gone. It doesn't hang on. It's gone. And you're out. You're loose. You're running. So, if the dog is psycho, like she says, it would plow through and go after a child who may look awkward to the dog because maybe the owners of the home don't have a child. Children are awkward to dogs if they're not raised around them. So many things are. And this woman just goes on and on about stupid stuff.
Great, because just so you know, I'm going to try to kill you as well. My thought process is, how quickly can I shoot your pit bull in the chest? Because if it's a pit bull and it comes towards me and my child, I don't care if that's your baby, it's going to get shot. That's just the truth. I'm just telling you where I stand on that. People like, oh, you don't know, it could be a gentle, not running toward my children. We're not going to find out. And I hope that you respect that. If you're a pit bull owner, please make sure that your pit bull stays on its property, because I'm not the kind of parent that is going to try to figure out whether or not you have bred your...
And please make sure when your children walk by the house where there's an invisible fence that they're not looking at the dog and going, or whatever they do, because kids do tend to do that and parents do tend to let them do that. And she's going to down herself in a second. She is. So, hold on to your children, walk by, don't even make contact with the dog, the pit bull inside an invisible fence. Or better yet, lady, how about you just go a different route and you can avoid this dog altogether. Damn.
Pit bull to be a really kind creature. I don't want it running near my children at all. As a rule, all dogs, by the way. Keep your dogs on your properties. I see dogs getting loose all the time, and I think this is so remarkably irresponsible. And of course, this is an animal, and this animal usually has capability, unless it's really small, to kill a human.
A small dog is capable of killing a baby or a child. They have done it. If they jump on the neck and they bite in the right place, they have done it. And the parent is nowhere around. It's not just a pit bull. A small dog going after an adult normally will go after the ankles. I have a poodle here who is not... I took him in as a rescue, and now I cannot adopt him out. Why? He is a miniature poodle, and he does not bite ankles. He will literally These dogs can jump. He will jump up and he will bite you on the butt or bite you on the hip or the back. That's where he will bite you. So you're not going to kick him from there. Jack Russells, that she talks about, they jump. They're not going to cuff to the ankles either. Or they don't have to. They can jump. Chihuahuas are your ankle biters. Dachshunds, they're your ankle biters. And by the way, dachshunds are the number one biter. A dachshund. They are the number one biter. Number two comes a Chihuahua. And then we go on down the line. Jack Russells and so the little dogs. They tend to be, biters as well. Yeah. But don't ever think that a small dog is incapable of killing a small child if you're not around. A baby, a toddler, not even a toddler, but one you have laying on the floor, just relaxing, playing, and your dog walks up to it and it's a small dog. Don't think that dog's not capable of biting that child in the face about 5 or 6 times or more and killing the child, especially if it gets it in the throat or the neck, because they are capable.
Now, do I believe the people who are pit bull owners that say that I raised my pit bull since it was born? Do I believe that they are telling the truth when they say that their pit bull would never attack them? Yes, I do believe that your pit bull will not attack you. But I do also know that a pit bull is an animal. And I believe that if a pit bull perceives a threat, whether that threat is real or imagined, they will be overtaken by their animal instinct. And a pit bull's animal instinct tells them to obliterate, to annihilate the threat until the very end. Now, I said something very important there. I said whether that threat is real or imagined. Because on the topic of children, a pit bull can very much be imagining a threat. All animals can be imagining a threat. I think about when I had a cat, and I loved my cat. I had my cat before I had my child. My son, when he was 4 months old, was just playing with her and went to grab her face because he loved her. And my cat swatted at my son. Why did she do that? Well, because she had obviously perceived an imagined threat. It wasn't because I was raising her to be a killer cat. It's because she is a cat. She is an animal. And the animal just got swapped in the face. And yes, it's by a little 4-month-old baby, but she doesn't comprehend that.
So, irresponsible owner, irresponsible cat owner, irresponsible child owner. You are not teaching your child. You shouldn't be having... A cat is going to react. Look, if you grab a cat's face, what's a cat going to do? It's either going to run or it's going to swat back. Because, whoa, don't grab a cat by the face. You just don't do it. That is the business end of an animal. Don't do it. So this is a woman who did not teach her child to not grab or reach out and swat the cat in the face. What happened to the cat? I bet she got rid of it.
Similarly, I went to a friend's house who has 2 pit bulls. She also has a 5-month-old child, about 5 or 6-month-old child, and she has an almost 2-year-old. And I went to her house. She has 2 pit bulls. And the entire time that I was holding her baby, the pit bull was sitting in front of me growling, just growling. Like actually, I felt that it was going to bite my face off. And she kept telling the pit bull, calm, calm, it's okay, it's okay. And she said, I'm sorry. The pit bull thinks that it's her baby. Okay, I get that. I guess I feel mildly comfortable enough because you're sitting here, right? But I was very conscious of how I was holding the baby, make sure I didn't move too quickly because I didn't want the pit bull to wrongly perceive that I was threatening the child. Instantly in my head, I said, my son is not allowed to be here. Imagine what this pit bull would do, right? What this pit bull would do if my toddler son was playing with her toddler son and maybe hit him, as toddlers tend to do. They hit each other, right? They're learning. They're still learning how to be human.
This woman talks about how she has a fear ever since she was a child of pit bulls. But recently she goes to a friend who has 2 pit bulls. Hello? Am I missing something here? And she's holding her friend's baby and a pit bull is standing there growling at her. That's the warning. That's your warning. And you don't even understand the warning. And neither did the owner. The owner didn't understand, saying, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's not okay. There's your warning right there. I don't believe this story. I honestly don't believe this story with everything she just went through and talked about. I don't like pit bulls. I've always been afraid of them, but you go to a friend's house that has 2 of them, and you sit down and hold a toddler with 2 pit bulls in the house, and it's growling at you. And you're cool. You're just not going to move the wrong way. You're cool with that. No. I don't believe it at all. This is a story to make pit bulls look bad. And a pit bull is nothing more than a mutt.
Beings. Would the pit bull drag and annihilate my toddler kid to protect what it perceives to be its toddler kid? Maybe, maybe not. I can tell you that my child won't be there to find out. And this is why I think it is always such cowardice when people blame the owners. Because the dogs that I have been made to feel uncomfortable around have wonderful owners, right? They're not thugs, they're not criminals, they're not raising the dog to bite others. They're not training the pit bulls to harm people. They're just severely underestimating what their pit bull may or may not perceive to be a threat and how their pit bull is going to rise to meet that threat.
Every single dog out there perceives threats one way or another, from your shepherd to your chihuahua, from your tiniest little teacup chihuahua, which really there's no such thing, it's just the runt of a litter, honestly, to your biggest Irish wolfhound, which will take you down in a second if it wanted to. Thank God they're big, goofy, silly, fun dogs, because they are tall, they are big. I'm sweating like crazy, sorry. They perceive certain things as threats. And she just thinks pit bulls perceive things. What they perceive as a threat, well, you sitting on that couch, obviously you were perceived as a threat. And you didn't get tore to shreds. And why were you there? Because I know you weren't. Because you have not liked pit bulls. You've been afraid of them since you were young. Why would you have done that? Why would you not have called your friend first and said, put the dogs up. I'm coming over. I don't want to be around them, please. And people do that. I do it all the time. I shuffle dogs all the time for people who come over. No, you're going to sit on the couch and yet you're going to hold your friend's baby while a pit is standing there growling at you. Are you stupid? Yeah.
That certainly seems to have been the case when it came to Kirsty and Colby Bernard. Remember this story? Back in October of last year. More than 8 years ago, they purchased 2 pit bulls, Cheech and Mia. 6 years later, they had their first child, a little girl named Lily Jane. Then 2 years after that, they had a second child, a boy named Hollis Dean. Probably fair to assume that they loved and they trusted their pit bulls. They had them for 8 years. And they could have never predicted that just a few short months later,
yes, they could have.
Cheech and Mia were going to kill both of their children. For 10 minutes, the pit bulls, who they had loved and raised for 8 years, mauled their 2-year-old and their 5-month-old to death. Now you're probably thinking, well, what happened to cause the pit bulls to react that way?
Right.
It's not clear. It hasn't yet been reported. So I'll ask you the question, what could a 2-year-old possibly do to make a pit bull perceive a threat that was so real that it had to kill a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old?
A lot.
Probably just acted like a 2-year-old. Maybe it hit the pit bull in the face. Maybe it
boink. I'm sorry. This is like the worst video I've ever seen. What can a 2-year-old possibly do to make a pit bull kill it? A lot. And then she goes on to say, well, maybe it just hit the pit bull in the face. That's all it takes, man. That's all it's going to take. And that is bad parenting. That's on the parents. That's not on the dog. The parents failed. The parents failed raising their children around a dog that can harm them or kill them. I raised my daughter around many pits, many Dobermans, many shepherds. I have the pictures to show it, and I love to put them up. Not in this video, but another day we're going to do that. And I'm going to tell you, she did not crawl around them, act awkward around them, put one of the Barbie dolls in the face and shake it at them, and certainly maybe did not hit one in the face. You keep your toddlers away from the dogs until they're old enough. You should be training them right off the bat anyway. The children and the dogs as well, but the children mainly, they grab tails. They sit on dogs. They smack them in the face. They think dogs are just like a game, something funny to play with, a toy. That's what they think. So that is the parents that failed. I remember that story. That is the parents that failed because they did not start teaching the toddler to please don't touch the dog without mommy and daddy here, and we let you pet gently while we hold you. I'd like to know where the parents were when that happened. I'd like to know, really, the child did something. A dog never just attacks just to attack. There's always something that gets to the dog to make it attack. Pit bulls have been known to go after people who are sitting there eating food and don't want to give them a piece. And they're sniffing the bag and they think, oh, it's cute, look at their nose in the bag, but no, you can't have it, it's mine. And you're pulling it away, and then you're eating again the dog's nose, and you're pulling it away. Well, you're teaching resource guarding, dude. That's what you're doing as a child. And you're letting your child do that. And you don't even know you're doing it. You need to go to school, people, if you're going to own a dog. You need to go to school and learn, and you need to go to a dog behaviorist too, and learn about big dogs and small dogs as well. Because a bite is a bite is a bite. And sadly, the child got killed, and because the parents failed. And that's the bottom line right there. I'll probably just hit it in the face. That's no reason for the dog to maul the child. Well, it's a perceived threat now, isn't it, woman? It was a threat, actually, to the dog. Got hit in the face.
Pulled the pit bull when it was having a bad day by the tail. Maybe it went near the pit bull's food, and the pit bull felt threatened.
Yeah.
It's a devastating story. I didn't report on it. I didn't even speak about it back when it happened last October, when people were heavily debating pit bulls, because I felt so bad for the parents. I can't even imagine. They were probably the kind of parents that weighed in during pit bull events and pit bull debates and said, pit bulls are not like that. We have 2 sweet girls that we've had for 8 years. We have 2 children. Nothing's ever go wrong. Yeah, nothing ever goes wrong until it does.
Right.
That is the point. Nothing ever goes wrong.
Until the parents let it.
Until it does. So I find this debate to be very bizarre. I find it weird that you have humans that are trying to convince you that animals are not animals. I find it weird, as if we don't all know that there are certain breeds that are friendlier than others. We know this. We know that golden retrievers are friendlier and more family friendly than a chihuahua. We know this. This is just...
Dare I say she's got her facts wrong? Extremely wrong. Extremely wrong. A dog is a dog is a dog. And if you treat a pit bull like you treat a golden retriever with kindness, then you're not going to get bit, mauled, killed. You're not. However, a golden retriever, they're a family dog. They're more of a family dog. They could put up with it a little bit longer than some of our guard dogs, war dogs, and what have you dogs. They could put up with it longer, but they as well have breaking points. Golden retrievers have been euthanized due to the fact, and labs, due to the fact that they have bitten children and taken off part of their face. It's fact. Every single dog out there has bitten people in the face or killed them. There's a story that's out here somewhere where a family got a yellow lab. They're great dogs, right? They are. They're a family dog. Yellow lab. Had kids. Had a pool. The dog would swim with the kids. No problem. They would all just jump in and swim, have a ball. And they were doing that for a long, long time. And they've had this dog for a long, long time, since a puppy. And they were all just doing their thing. And then one day, the kids could no longer pet the dog. You know, every time it's like, good boy, you couldn't pet the dog would growl. The parents would be like, oh, I just don't want to be bothered. Wrong. That's not a just I don't want to be bothered sign. That is a back off sign. I don't want to be bothered is not just it. Dogs don't speak our language, so we need to learn their language. And that is a problem with her, and a lot of owners. They don't speak our language. We need to learn their language, their body language, and their growl. The growl means something is wrong. Back off. Nah, probably just, he doesn't want to be pet, honey. Try later. Whatever. Leave the kids alone with the dog. Okay? And they did. They left the kids alone with the dog. He had 2 or 3 children, and they left the young kids alone with the dog. Next thing you know, you hear one kid screaming, and then you hear another kid screaming, and the mom and dad came running into the room. And I think that, I'm not sure if the one child actually got killed by the dog. Yes, I believe the Labrador Retriever, the yellow lab, had killed the one child, and nobody knew why, except for the one older kid said, just went to pet him on the head, again. And she's like, well, why is this dog not wanting to be pet on the head? People were trying to figure this out, not them. They were horrified. I can only imagine. However, you know what happened? The dog was swimming a lot and had ear infection. The ear infection, it hurt bad. The dog did not want to be pet on the head, or maybe have the ears grabbed like kids tend to do. This is a parenting issue. This is not a dog issue. It's a parenting issue. I'm going to say it again. When you get a dog, any dog, and you have children, she just needs to walk another block and stop going by the pit bull. She's just looking for a dog to shoot, it sounds like. When you have children and you have dogs, you teach your children right off the bat. Dogs are not toys. Dogs are very serious, and they're here for a reason. Yes, they're part of the family, but they're not a toy, and they're not to be played with. They're not to be sat on. You don't pull their tail. You don't go near their food when they're eating. And guess what? As a parent, you have a new job. Your job is to watch over your child every single time that dog is with your child. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And you do not let that child sleep in the bed with the dog until the child is a teenager and has learned completely what dogs are capable of doing. Yes, dogs have bitten their owners before. Yes, owners just don't turn it in. They don't want to lose their dog or have it down as a dangerous dog, and then you have to buy insurance on it. The same thing for a pit bull, which is nothing more than a mixed breed dog. To anybody that has if you don't have an American Staffordshire Terrier, if you don't have a French Bulldog, if you don't have a American Bulldog, if you don't have a English Bulldog, you have a pit bull, you have a mixed breed dog. It is an abundance of terriers mixed in with a dog, and it's a mutt. Pull a DNA, you just swab it, you send it, and you'll find out. There are so many people who, thankfully around here, there's education, and there's a lot of it, and you do it. You know, if somebody walks their dog down the road and they tell me, and it's a pitty, as we call them, pitties, because they're mixed breed dogs, we call them pitties. Oh no, don't come near him. Well, I'm not. I'm just going to walk by, and I'm going to step out the road and walk by. Okay, but don't come too close because this dog will bite. Well, then that dog should be muzzle trained. And by muzzle trained, I mean a basket muzzle, so it could breathe and pant as it needs to if it will bite. Or it should have something on it that says, do not pet, or do not come near, or dog may bite. That's perfectly fine. The police department, animal services will not mind. You are letting the public know the dog is not a danger. It's on a leash, it's under control, but it may bite. So people know. Now, children don't know how to read. For those that don't know how to read that again is a parenting issue. But you know what people do? They're walking down the road with their kid, and they let their children run up. I can't tell you how many times it happened to me where I'm going, no, stop your child. Stop. And run up to the dog and want to pet it, a strange dog. Man, I don't know what this lady's talking about. She's had a fear of pit bulls forever, okay? Yeah, she goes to a friend's house that has 2 pit bulls. Good story. Good story. And the dog stands there, just stands right at her while she's holding her friend's baby, child, whichever she said, and the dog is growling. Not me. That would not be me. I would call my friend and say, put your dogs up, I'm coming over. We have people do that here. We have to put all the dogs up before somebody comes over, because there's going to be a problem. We have 2 dogs in the house that bite. No way. And some dogs that I rescue, I don't know their background. I don't know what they're capable of doing, and they also get crated and put up in another room while someone's visiting, because we don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen. So when you have parents and you have dogs, first of all, a dog is not a fur baby. It's not a fur baby. It is a dog. It's a domesticated animal, but it is a dog. And dogs don't think to reason. Like I said, they don't know how. They can't. They just can't. So therefore, they react. They just react. You pull my tail, it don't feel good, I'm going to turn around and snap at you. And once I snap at you and you start screaming, and I could hear so much better than a human, I'm going to attack you even more. And then we have the ball rolling. That's called bad parenting. Bad parents. Bad parenting is what happened. Bad parenting. I keep over and over and over, it's bad parenting. We have a guy down the road. He has a pit bull that's tied to a tree. Under a tree, that's not the shelter that a dog needs. That's the shelter that's not allowed. But he has it tied to a tree. People walk by and it'll come out from the tree. Oh, it made a game because it's so bored and tied and alone. Dogs are highly social. But it made a game out of this, barking at people, and they jumped out in the road, and yeah, I did my job. I'm going to go back and lay down. And then that becomes not so fun for the dog anymore. And before you know it, after that, they start to grab. Any dog. A dog is a dog is a dog. Yes, different breeds. Different breeds. And I'm going back to the war dogs. I'm going back to the Cane Corsos. Because I had one that I took in. And I do have pictures of this dog. And I won't put them on this video here. I'll put them on another one. And, or maybe put up a whole different video with all the dogs. Well, a lot of the dogs that I rescued. And this dog I knew nothing about. But the guy didn't want her anymore because the neighbor was giving me problems. So I took the dog in and I looked at the dog going, okay, don't pet the dog, number 1. A lot of dogs do not like to be pet by strangers or even a certain person in the house. A lot of dogs turn out to be one-person dogs. Yeah, they do. So that's why we need to get these dogs into school. We need to get these dogs into obedience class. You went once, go again. You went twice, go again. Now go see a dog behaviorist and have the dog checked out by a dog behaviorist. Seriously. And another good thing to do is we have, every state has them, where you can send your dog off for the day while you go to work to be with other dogs where there's professionals working, and they socialize your dog with the proper size dog, equal to the size of the dog's mannerisms. At first, they don't put them with other dogs to see how they're going to react. We use an arm. It's latex and a hand, and we check the food bowl with the dog. We check the dog's head to pet. We check the rump to pet. The legs, the feet. Believe it or not, it's the feet that a dog mostly does not like to be touched. The feet. Why? Because somebody probably tried to cut toenails at one time. These are older dogs I'm talking about, not pups. But probably had a bad experience at the vet with toenail clippings. You cut the quick, which is the vein, and it bleeds, and it hurts. It does hurt, but the bleeding will stop when they use the quick stop. They hate their feet touched. That's where they growl. That's where they bite. Normally, with me. So, but you have to check them out. You have to check them out and find out what they like and they don't like. So her reporting No, pit bulls should not be banned. They're just another dog. Sadly, okay, look, I've been around, and I'm going to tell you, I went through. First, it was the Doberman Pinscher era. How they were killing people, how they were tearing people up, how they were biting, how vicious they were. They were psychotic. Went through that. That all died down. Then came along the German Shepherds, which have always been around, but they're biting. They're psychotic. Don't own one. They're going to kill you. Yeah, they had their heyday. For some reason, we're stuck on the pit bull. The pit bull is a family dog. Remember, origins, it once came from being a farm dog and a guard dog, protecting over the farm animals but not killing them. So if you can breed this dog to kill, you can also breed out. I'm not asking anybody to breed. Don't do it. You can train too. She's talking about kids, but an 80-year-old woman who got attacked. Now, I don't know. Who knows what happened with the 80-year-old woman? Who knows what she did? With dogs, you never really know what somebody did wrong unless you're there. That's why I always say, too, we got cameras all around the house. That way, if one of the dogs that we bring in, or if a person breaks in, that was the real reason, but hey, there's a plus to it. If one of the dogs just go off, we know why. We know what happened. It's not that the dog's she said the dog's having a bad day. It's not that the dog's having a bad day. The dog's probably in pain. The dog's probably been taunted. Children are big on getting attacked by dogs because they're little people. They are. And they're awkward to a lot of dogs who have not been raised around them. So when you have dogs in your home, or a dog in your home, and you get pregnant and you give birth to a child and you come home from the hospital and there's a little baby crying, the dog is curious. There's different smell in the house now. There's a whole different little person, and the dog has to acclimate to that, and you need to be there and be proactive. And if you're not, you're going down the wrong path. And I pray to God that the dog is just mellow enough and just out of the way enough. I've literally watched a girl one time, and I said something. She had a Labrador and something mix, not even a little pitty or lab mix. And I watched her, as we were talking at the table, I watched her let her toddler, not even a toddler, sorry, the child was in diapers, on hands and knees, chasing the dog under the table, wanting that tail. Had a black fluffy tail. Cocker Spaniel and Labrador. And Cocker Spaniels are known to bite. Cocker Spaniels are not afraid to bite either. All dogs bite. It's what they do. It's survival. So, I'm sitting there, and I've had enough at that point. I said, hey. She goes, oh no, the dog, they do this all the time. No, they don't do this all the time. The dog wants to lay by you. I see it lay down at your feet. But then your child makes its way over there, and then the dog gets up and runs away. And it's turning its head around, and one day it's going to bite her. Well, guess what? We were no longer friends anymore when the dog bit her child and put her in the hospital. I remember that. And there are so many other stories to say. When you rescue dogs, you run the gauntlet of dogs that hurt people. But the majority of people will not turn in their family pet because it's their fur baby. Dogs are not a fur baby. They shouldn't be cuddled like a baby. They shouldn't be sleeping on your bed under a blanket with you. I'm sorry to those of you who do that, but they should not, because they're not human. Don't try to humanize them. You can't. They are dogs. They are dogs. My dogs sleep in crates or on the floor where they belong, and they have their own bed. And all I have to do every night at 8:30, that's their last outing. Okay, bathroom time, but I gotta split it up because certain dogs may want to fight. Don't know, but may. See, I'm reading the body language. And I take them out. Last outing, 8:30. We're in the house. Bedtime. They know exactly what bed to go to. Most are in a crate. I have 5 now, and the 5th one don't matter because it's a new foster to find a home. And they know where to go. And they go, and they sleep through the night. Sometimes they'll wake me up when they hear a noise, and they'll bark and they'll growl. And I appreciate them for that. I appreciate every single pit bull that I have owned in my life. And I think there's been 5 or 6 I've actually kept. I was a foster failure and kept them and loved them, but treated them like a dog, and still raised 3 children. 3 children. Around a few of them, I'd say 3 of them, 3 of the pit bulls were raised around my children, young children, and not one showed aggression. Why? Because I had to teach my children to stay away from the dogs. Mom's gonna go do dishes. Guess what? You are coming in the kitchen with me. To my children, and we are putting a gate across. The dog will learn to lay there at the gate and watch us, and that's fine. You will not enter the living room before Mom does. I entered the room first. I entered the room with no food, nothing. I don't even give the dog attention. I just walk in and mind my business. I tell my children, do not reach out to pet the dog. Do not reach out to pet the dog. We all live here as equals. Equals. And I've never had a problem. Never had a problem with a pit bull, which is nothing more than a mixed breed dog. Remember that. They are a mixed breed dog. Mixed breed dog. So I don't know why she is hating on these dogs. Well, because of what happened in her life. But for some reason, I'm not buying the whole, I've been afraid of them for, since however long she said. But yet she'll go to a friend that has 2 pit bulls in the house, where she's so very vulnerable. The dogs are loose. She's so very vulnerable. And she'll hold the woman's child. She's extremely vulnerable. And the dog is standing there looking at her, growling at her. Extremely dangerous now. Extremely dangerous situation. So that's my story. This video bothered me because I know there are people out there that love their pit bulls. I know a woman who used to live next door who advocates for them all the time. I have as well. Akitas mainly became my thing for a while. Alaskan Malamutes, Chows. I've had Chows. I've had them all. But she's a big advocate, and she got this pit bull from a drug house and didn't think it was going to work. But it worked. Why? She got it into obedience real quick, and then she sent it off to, when she worked, she sent it off to a place that would accept the dog, learn the dog's behaviors, assess the dog's behaviors, and before you knew it, this dog was playing with other dogs, swimming with other dogs. They have little shallow pools, swimming with dogs, playing with dogs, and is dog friendly, people friendly, child friendly, everything friendly. Still has it. I think the dog is 12 and 13 years old now. Yeah. And if anybody tries to come along, for anybody who's out here and loves pit bulls so very much, and says, oh, it's a blue, it's worth money. Blue is just a color. It's not a breed. Red is just a color. It's not a breed. Pit bulls are mutts. If you want the real deal, get a American Staffordshire Terrier. They're small, and they're stout, and they're wonderful dogs. Pit bulls are wonderful dogs too. American bulldogs are wonderful dogs. Stout, very powerful bite. Wonderful dogs. English bull terriers, which I had, they grab a hold of another dog, and I was warned about that when I had my Doberman, and I got an English bull terrier. The owner said, don't put, I know there's a female, but don't put him in with her. And they were both fixed, they were both altered, because if he gets a hold of her, he will not let go. And I read up on them. He was right. Those dogs just take one big, they've got a muzzle out, they're the ones with the long muzzle, and they're real short to the ground and then stout. His name was Vulcan. And he said if he gets a hold of her, he won't let go. And boy, did I research real quick on that one now. But I thought, I've had Mastiffs. What can possibly go wrong? Anything. Dachshunds, the biggest biters going. Dachshunds. Can you believe that? Okay, I'm done. She's nuts. Get the facts before you come on here and start talking. Get all the facts and get them right, because this is just not right. It's a people problem, not a dog problem. It's not a dog problem. Let's see if we're at the end.
Common sense. So when did it become normal for people to pretend that you can breed an animal out of an animal? That's not possible. So
yes,
please,
it is.
Like I said,
yes,
stop saying it. My stance is that I don't want your pit bull. I don't want the cops and the authorities to come take your pit bull, but I certainly don't want your pit bull around me and my children. And that's all I have to say about that.
Wow. Really? Then don't go to your girlfriend's house again that has 2 pit bulls so it can stand there and growl at you in the face. Okay? Don't do it. And that's the end of my story. That's it. And truth be told, for anybody who loves dogs, has dogs, or even a cat, wonder what happened to her cat when she even admitted flat out, my child, grabbed the cat by the face, so the cat flung a paw back at her. Hey, do as I do, not as I say. That's what they did. A child grabbing a cat by the face? Really? Really? She's lucky she didn't get claw marks across. Maybe she did. I bet the cat got rid of the cat. Oh, that cat. That cat had no business doing that to my child. My child can't hurt that cat bull. Cats don't like to be taunted either. Either way, that's the end of my story. This is what I fight for. To keep dogs alive. And to keep people who are idiots from talking smack about dogs. Now, I don't want any hate on this person at all, but when you sit there and say, and this is the part that is gonna stick with me forever. I've never liked them. I don't like them. But I went to my friend's house, and she has 2 pit bulls, and I held her baby there in front of the pit bulls, and was it 2 pit bulls? I don't even know. The story's just crazy, and just growled at me. You are so lucky. You are so lucky to tell your story and your crap today. All right. My AC's on. I apologize for the loud music. Please like, subscribe if you like this. If you're an animal owner, period, dog owner, cat owner, please subscribe. This is what I fight for, and it's a hard fight. We did it today. That's why my hair's all tied up and I'm a mess. And then I come home, and this got sent to me from a friend, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yes, pit bulls have killed people. We all know that. Yes, German Shepherds have. We all know that. Yes, Dobermans have. Yes, other dogs have. Yes, Barack Obama in the White House got a Portuguese water dog. I don't know if both of them bit or just one, but bit a lot of staff members. Jeez, come on. And those are good dogs. I love a Portuguese water dog. And, they're good dogs, man. They're not known to be doing that, but Basset Hound. Your good old long-haired Basset Hound. God forbid it gets an ear infection. Because when a dog's in pain, a dog will bite. And when a dog is being taunted, a dog will bite. And when it's a child, because they're so little and awkward anyway to a dog, they are. It's like a person. We have one dog who will not bark at anything, usually, except when someone knocks on the door. But you could take them out the front yard on the leash, and they never, ever get out. We have a fenced-in back, but we take them out front sometimes because they'll go to the bathroom quicker from the smells. There's a guy that goes by, and he just has a limp when he walks. That's why I referenced the cane or a limp. He looks awkward to the dog, and the dog's not used to that awkwardness. Therefore, the dog is going to bark. And the guy carries on walking by, and he goes, and I'm just like, don't say a word. I'm not saying a word, because I get it. he looks awkward to the dog. So the dog is going to think, why is this person, but why am I not like that? Why are you? Thinking is not part of the process, really. It's reaction time is what it is. And so the dog's looking at it going, it's awkward. It's like someone going down the road going, la, 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 la. None of the dogs like that. Because we don't do it in the house, Now we could take them to Home Depot, and we could walk them through Home Depot, and wood can crash down on other wood. Things can be thrown around, and you know what? The noises they're used to. People, though, sometimes there's going to be someone to cross your path where your dog is not going to like it. That's where you have your dog under control, like we do here, and nothing happens. You're going to get barked. You're going to get barked at. But these dogs do not get loose, and these dogs do not attack people and go after them. They don't go after them. I don't get this lady, man. I'm sorry, I don't get this video. I don't get it. I don't get it for beans. I don't get it. I never will. I can't figure it out. I'm sorry. I'm going to let you all go. I talk too much. I can talk about this forever and say I don't understand that she was so afraid of them, but yet went over to a friend's house who had a pit bull or pit bulls and got growled down, man. Damn. Too much to handle. All right. Thank you all for joining me. Happy 4th of July. I'm going to go take a shower. Like and subscribe if you will, please. Watch the video. It's actually pretty good. She's just like, I don't know. She's hating on dogs and I don't know, just hating on Chihuahuas, little yappers, and that yes, they can be, but they're not all. They're not all little yappers. I've met many, many, many sweet Chihuahuas and not biters. Trust me. Come on. And you people out there that know dogs, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that know animals. You have to agree. Some of you might hate on the pit bull, that's fine. But remember, a pit bull is not an actual breed of dog. It is a mixed breed. Pit. Because you put him in a pit. That's how it started. And bull, because of the American bulldog that it came out of originally, mixed with terriers, all different types of terriers. Hence the word pit bull, mutt. Thank you. Have a great day. Like and subscribe. Thanks. Yeah.